is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
Excuse me as I rock on. That's Went Away by Dorothy Lane. Dorothy Lane out of Martinez, California. That's out of the Cut and Dry album. Check them out at DorothyLaneMusic.com. Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Ruel's Running Podcast. As Anna said at the top of the episode, this is Ruel. How's everybody doing? If you hear kind of a scratchy noise in the background, that's just my seatbelt rubbing against my puffy vest. I'm on the road again. I just came back from picking up a few things at the store again. I picked up some stuff to burn at the fireplace or on the fire pit. It's that time of year where, I just want to watch stuff burn in the name of getting something warm and cozy going, So, got something for the fireplace, and it's too late for that now to do something in the fire pit out back, but, at least I have something to burn when that time comes. I am doing this recording on a different app, so I'm not even sure this is going to turn out. If it does, we'll find out soon enough. At the moment, in the chamber, in the bank, I've got 2 more backed episodes that I've yet to release. So by the time this rolls around, they would have actually been released. So it's kind of dumb that I'm saying that. So yeah, that's what it is. What it is. It is the January 24th, something or other. Yeah. So just dating the episode. By the time this releases, it'll be probably sometime in February. Just an update on things. Just trying to get another episode out. Want to shout out to Ted. What's up, Ted? Ted is a friend, former coworker, but more importantly, he's a friend. And he's such a good friend that he tunes into this silly little show, so I get to give him a shout out every now and then. Ted, I've been meaning to cook some lumpia, some homemade lumpia. Because apparently the last episode I talked about, or the last episode that you heard had to do with starting to feel hungry because I had talked about Filipino food. And since we're on that topic, might as well talk about what's cooking, or what I plan to cook, what I'd like to cook, all of those things. Well, tonight's a Friday night, and I didn't cook jack squat for dinner. Took the family out to eat for some Filipino food. And guess what was on the table? Lumpia. But when I talked about wanting to cook my own lumpia, it wasn't that type of lumpia. It was like my grandma's type of lumpia, meaning, for folks who don't know what lumpia is, it's basically an egg roll. So it's got a rice paper sort of wrapper. It's deep fried. But the way my grandmother used to prepare it is she'll take ground pork and she'll cook it together with some sliced green beans and water chestnuts, carrots, some julienne carrots, and basically she might have put garlic, she might have put onion. I can't remember. I'd have to ask my aunt or my cousin or even my brother to find out if they remember what else went in it. But that in itself was just good to eat. The ground meat with those chopped up veggies, oh my god! And what better to put it in a lumpia wrapper than something that just tastes really good in itself? So my grandma would take that and she would make lumpia out of it, right? And she used to make it so good, so consistent as far as flavor, portion size. It's the best. And, I want to be able to do that. And just to bring myself closer to my grandmother, and my childhood. And also, hopefully, create something just as delicious and to share that experience with the kids, and hopefully create something awesome where they can take, carry it on themselves. And, I think typical folks, when they think Filipino cuisine, it's either chicken adobo or lumpia, and there's just so much more out there. But yeah, lumpia, man. So that's what I want to cook. Went out for dinner, I had some Filipino food, and the only thing I cooked recently was just like the kids' meals. And I was talking about it to my wife this morning, because I get up on a Friday morning and there's a set lunch menu for the kids. And currently the way the menu is the oldest kid is going to get sushi, so I make him a California roll. Right? As this car almost T-bones me because he's not paying attention. And I just kept on rolling, staring him down. And he waves his hands up in the air like, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Anyways. I'll make him a California roll. And then the other kid will have spam musubi. And I talked about this before, I think. Then my daughter will have just really basic buttered pasta, and then a side of crispy bacon. That's the way she likes to roll. My daughter. Some butter rotini in a little thermos, and then on a little plastic container there's some crispy bacon. Yeah. And then it would have been a day too where it could have been a typical morning where I make a fresh batch of guacamole that my wife can take to work. I do cook up crispy bacon for her in the morning as well. I did that, but no guacamole. Had I made the guacamole, she would have just taken along some what are called gluten-free tortilla chips. She likes them a lot. I'm not a fan of them, even though they are gluten-free. But yeah, so yeah, that's what's cooking, what I'd like to be cooking, and what I've eaten. Now, I'm trying to be really good, pay attention to my nutrition, and been doing some regular exercise. And in less than a month, I have to. I plan to run the Red Tail Ridge, the Lake Chabot 50K. I haven't signed up yet, but I will. I gotta do it before the end of the month, before the prices go up. So kind of excited about that. I had an easy hour run today, midday, the one day this week that I was able to get into the office. So pretty pleased about that. And before that, I've just been doing these workouts at a gym that I've recently signed up for, which is great. I signed up to actually be able to work out with my wife, because it would help her sort of stay targeted and on track. And I found that along the way, I'm really benefiting from it as well. So, happy about that. And I'll pick up where I left off. I'll be back.
Do you need a website? If you're an individual, a consultant, a group, or small business and need a site, or maybe you have an existing site, I can help. How about graphic design? Do you need a design for a t-shirt, logo, product, business cards? Maybe you need help with designing and developing a brand. I'm not an expert, but I do have the tools and the techniques to get the job done. How about a podcast? Yep, like this thing. This thing's a silly little show. Are you looking to set up a podcast of your own? Are you looking to reach an audience? Promote your business via podcast? Well, Abadam Studios. That's right, Abadam Studios. Yeah, so that's Abadam Studios. AbadamStudios.com, AbadamStudios.com. Check it out. All right, I'm back. Yep. What was I talking about? Talking about workouts and things of that nature. So yeah, it's the following morning, and trying to pick up where I left off. So, I find myself in a position where not only am I out of shape, but apparently I've gotten to a level of unhealth. Not like, I've got some, like really critical disease or something, or diagnosis, but it's still something that makes me pay attention. What I'm talking about is, I've packed on the pounds. I think if I would love to lose 15 pounds, but I'm going to target 20 just so that I can get past 15. So my wife wanted to join a gym, and she's like, I need you to join with me so that we can work out together, and that will help me, kind of stick to the plan. And it was interesting how that all worked out. It's January rolled around. I'm at the office, and there's a company meeting, and they're talking about how, and I already knew this, but it just was a reminder that, hey, you know what, you've got a wellness benefit, right? You accumulate X number of dollars every month that you could use towards wellness, and you'll get reimbursed. And I already knew that, yeah, I could just, sign up for a membership at a gym, and then I could just file the expense and, just kind of go through those motions. But I never jumped at the chance because I just didn't want to be in like a 24-hour fitness or a Fitness 19 or, I don't know, Planet Fitness. I just didn't see myself, looking for those places and having an interest of hopping in. So every now and then I would use the wellness benefit for things like race registration, right? It counts. I could sign up for the next 50K. And if I file expense and get my money back. But those happen like, once, twice, 3 times a year. So there's a whole amount that I'm not using and then losing at the end of the year. So the benefit is actually coupled with a professional development. So there was one year where I signed up for an industry conference of some sorts, right? And it was in San Francisco, so I didn't need to travel. I attended, I think, like 2 days or something like that, 2 or 3 days, and and it cost a pretty penny, and most of the funds that I could use towards professional development or wellness were used there. So, and within the year, I could bank, right, month after month after month to make a larger expense. And some folks are like, I could buy myself a canoe, right, after several months of accumulating. But anyways, I found, I was reminded of this benefit. I'm like, okay, I might have to use that somehow and start paying attention. And so one day, last year, we attend the Napa Valley or the Napa Aloha Festival, right? We've done it the year before, and it's a nice way to go out, spend at sort of like a picnic vibe. There's a stage, there's entertainment, there's vendors, and there's like clothing and arts and craft vendors, and there's food vendors, and
nice way to sort of get that island vibe going. And when we went last year, on stage was a performance for something called Hot Hula, and it looked like fun way to sort of participate and get exercise for my wife and a friend who was with us. And my wife used to do hula and Tahitian dance, and so she was familiar with the movements, and she hadn't been doing it for over 10 years, since the kids and stuff. So turned out that day, later on after the performance, they were doing sort of like these workshops at a pavilion nearby. So my wife and our friend went, and they had a great time. And my sister-in-law attended as well. One thing led to another. My sister-in-law kept in contact with the instructor, and time goes by, and my wife and my sister-in-law and our friend, they attend a different hot hula session up in Santa Rosa, and this was around the time that the fires were blazing up in Northern California, and so they do that session, and they're having a good time, and one thing leads to another, and somehow my wife coordinates with the instructor for her to conduct a class closer to where we live. And my wife asks me to help with it. So my wife does the whole Facebook event. I do some artwork. My wife takes care of trying to promote it and have X number of folks sign up, and finding a place where the class can be conducted. Turns out the venue or the facility was this gym in our city was less than a year old. They were a startup, and it was a nice space. So when it came around to it, my wife helped set up this event to promote Hot Hula, to have my wife and friends and anybody interested can experience the workout. At the same time, it promotes this new gym, and my wife threw in promoting the bake shop, because the class is primarily female in attendance. It was sort of like, well, I guess it doesn't matter whether they were female or not, but the way that my wife promoted her bake shop alongside this whole event was, she baked and she prepared, she baked, and she made available post workout, an assortment of what she would call kid-friendly, like 4 kid-friendly items from the bake shop, and then 4 keto-friendly items that were newly created, and then alongside, for the heck of it, threw in some mimosas and champagne, and it was like a really cool event. And we, all the ladies had a great time. My kids got to attend because this facility also has sort of this whole daycare situation, so we got to sort of try that out. One thing led to another. That followed up with a trial workout for the gym's anniversary special. We went once, and then somehow we managed to go a second time, and then we signed up. We became friends with the owners, and So I've done 2 sort of free sessions, and then did a session midweek where I actually reserved space within the week and did a morning session. And today's a Saturday morning, and get to go again with my wife, and I think a friend of ours is also going to be there. So yeah, getting a little bit more activity done, and that's already on top of me starting to get myself together and do
some runs around the house, around the office, some workouts in the garage. So I've been getting a bit more exercise. And around that time, I had done a blood test, sort of an annual blood test, and the numbers were okay. What was concerning was my fasting blood glucose. So, that one thing led to another. One thing leads to every other. And I ended up picking up a new blood glucose monitor. And it also is one of the monitors that can also measure ketones. So I was able to do that. And yet again, company benefits come into play. I have a health family savings account, and I had learned that I could actually use that card through Amazon. They have an FSA HSA store, or an FSA store. So anything that's eligible for family savings accounts and things of that nature can be paid through the card. I'm like, cool. So it felt almost like I'm not paying anything out of pocket, because it's funds that's been taken out of my paycheck, before taxes or whatever, and used specifically for health, family, and health, family matters. So I picked up some new strips, blood glucose / ketone monitor. And I picked up a new weight scale. So then all of this new gadgetry, has all this wireless sync with mobile capabilities, and suddenly I've got a lot of my health records sort of being transmitted across apps and being pulled from my healthcare providers, and stuff. So it's pretty interesting. And now I kind of got sucked back into this whole paying attention to numbers and biometrics and data, and I reestablished my old MyFitnessPal account. I want to just sort of, let's see what that looks like these days. Back then Under Armour didn't own them. Nowadays Under Armour owns MyFitnessPal. And so tracking workouts, tracking food. I got to go back in the house now, and I got to go prick my finger and see what my fasting blood glucose looks like. I've making some changes, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. I'm back. So it's the afternoon of the Saturday, and I did check my fasting blood glucose, and it's better. It's way better. I think it could stand to be better. So I went ahead and then did my first reading for ketones, and I think that I could stand to know that, I'm not in ketosis. I think once my blood glucose is consistently lower, then I can expect my blood ketones to then be higher. So we'll see how that goes. I measured at a 0.3 millimolar per deciliter. So I need to be at least 0.5 is my understanding, so there you go. Today is, I guess, the start of Chinese New Year, and for whatever reason, my wife figures, let's kind of get into celebrating Chinese New Year, even though we're not Chinese. Just kind of do something about it. Oh, excuse me. Again, it is past 5 o'clock on a Saturday, and I'm kind of tired.
And so yeah, I was talking about MyFitnessPal and setting that, just re-logging in. It had been, good God, I think it had been like 4 years since I last logged in, or maybe 6. Yeah, I think it was 6 years. Jesus Christ, 6 years. It's funny. I was like, wow, look at my goal weight back then. I think I met it back then, and then I stopped using the app. And I could stand to repurpose that goal weight. Essentially, I'm, it's like I said, it's going to force me to target 20 pounds, but I'd be good at 15 pounds. I mean, I'm kind of geeking out a little bit, and I didn't think I'd get here because it was years ago, man. It was, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years ago when I did geek out. And then the whole point was, I looked at my daily log, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty much just consistently eating the same thing, and I know, what I like, and what I like generally is an SNG, and it keeps me in a range that is, kind of can get me in nutritional ketosis, right? And then, everything was good, and it's like, okay, I kind of got this. I can go on autopilot now. I can go. What I choose to eat is automatically what's going to be in alignment with what my goals are. And I was like, cool, this is more natural. It's not natural to be staring at an app and at all that data. Once you've sorted out sort of what the patterns are and you've learned, and I'm kind of using it as, just something to do, just sort of doing, and it's something to do that'll sort of keep my mind on being on track, and like again, the only reason why this happened was like, I got this glucose monitor and this ketone monitor. They're the same monitor, but different strips. It can sync to an app, so I can actually stare at the numbers and see where things are. That way I don't have to write it down on a piece of paper or on a note on my phone. And it's kind of neat. And then I use the FSA to buy a new scale, weight scale. It does all the extra reading, like like this is how much percent muscle, how much percent fat, and the bullshit BMI score. Yeah, but that too is wireless. And it can take up to 8 users. So I'm user number 1. My wife will be user number 2, and that's pretty much it. Get some reading and do my measurements rather, and then that information gets automatically sent to my phone or to an app for me to track. So, it's a whole different sort of, I guess, health mindset coming back to it. And not to mention the gym workouts, and that's kind of why I'm tired today, right? Is I really went hard this morning on this morning's workout. It was great. Then the other reason why I'm kind of worn out is because of the Chinese New Year. We went to a Chinese restaurant and they had dim sum, and I'm certain there was more than I needed to eat as far as number of carbs and whatnot. But it's like there's no way I'd be able to track on a MyFitnessPal the variety of what comes across the table. That changes hands from dim sum cart to dining table. All of the variety. There should be an option. I should create an option on my MyFitnessPal called "You're fucked." And then whenever on a given day I'm having a meal that's just impossible, or I just don't have the energy to assemble on a daily food thing, I just put it, "You're fucked." And I'll make it like 1 million carbs. Yeah, that's what I'll do. what's the whole point? And then just hop right back into it. So yeah, gadgetry, testing stuff, and data syncing, and I was able to even pull the data off of my healthcare organization, right? The health group that, the medical group that I typically go to for things. I could sync that data onto my health app on my phone. That was kind of interesting. It's like, oh, look, there's all the data from when I did my past several years, blood tests and this and that. Pretty neat. And then, so what else? Like, oh yeah, there's this urgent care place. They're a different medical organization. I could hook them in and pull in that information for things when I go into things like I had a migraine, or I had a I don't know, some throaty thing or some like weird eyeball thing, Fortunately, there ain't a lot. There's I thought I might be able to pull in data from the blood bank that I've gone to in the past to donate blood, but yeah, I might give it a try. I don't know if the blood bank is associated with Stanford, but they have a similar name, and maybe, I wonder. I'll see. Yeah, I mean, there's a way to manually enter, but what's the whole point? Just automatically enter it for me. Yeah. What else is going on? So, I don't know. I guess that's health chat. Yeah. Worked with the admins today to get consensus on booting a guy who was being a douchebag in the NSNG Facebook group. There was a thread that basically got kind of political, and then this particular guy just kept on calling everyone stupid. Or a dumbass. No, dumbass. I stand corrected. Just calling everybody a dumbass. Literally, whenever somebody would say, hey, man, you're kind of out of line, then that guy would say, well, you're a dumbass. And then if someone else says, you're a dumbass. And wow, that must be something he has tattooed on his arm. He likes saying it a lot. Mom says, I love you, son. And he's like, you're a dumbass. So, yeah, don't need that in the group. So, like the consensus. Right, Lonnie? Lonnie had the great mind to leave it available for other admins who have yet to boot someone off the group to do it. So yeah, if you happen to be listening to this podcast, that's what happened. You can't be calling people names. The group is there to help folks. Have fun. And if calling people dumbass is your idea of fun, people don't understand you, and they're going to misunderstand you, and it's just not going to work. So, see ya. What else is going on? It's going to be less than a month. I got to go, like I mentioned, I do have a long run that I need to do. And I'm hoping that all of these workouts, these sort of total body or full body workouts on the gym and time on the treadmill, are going to make a difference. Because, to be honest, it's more preparation I've ever done leading up to any other long run before. In the past, I've tried to get more runs in. Not a whole lot of strength work. Some leg work at home. But this really sort of beats me up. Not like beat me up the way when I used to train in a Muay Thai camp, what that sort of beat up was. Those sessions were crazy because I would remember, like, leading up to the class, I'd already be nauseous. I'd be, like, sick to my stomach because I knew the type of damage that we were going to subject ourselves to, right? And I go in willingly, right? I mean, just get exhausted, utterly worn out. Never mind that, you're just doing, like, insane cardio and then, and other levels of conditioning. People just socking you in the gut, over and over and over again to build your armor. Yeah, You know, then at the end, I feel sick to my stomach because I was so exhausted, and I figured if I had a meal, I'd feel better. And I'd down a meal, and just my body would be just so, you know, minced meat in the inside that for me to try and digest food, it was just too traumatized. He couldn't handle it, so I just feel gross right afterwards. So not like that. This was okay. There's a little bit of like a little I don't know what to describe it. I guess excitement. And it never really is like torture. It's a workout, but it's not like, holy crap, you know, like I need to go outside and barf. This is too intense torture. This is just workout, structured workout. Okay, so I'm worn out. Then I probably overconsumed, and I just had to take a nap. So I'm literally drinking a cup of coffee, talking to you guys, just trying to, you know, ever like take that late afternoon nap and then you wake up feeling shittier than you did when you fell asleep? Like major cobwebs and you just feel like maybe if I just continue to stay sleeping, all that sensation would wear away, but I can't afford to do that because I gotta get up and do shit. Like right now, head over to Trader Joe's and pick up some stuff. Reminded me to pick up a head of cauliflower. I asked my wife, what's it for? She says, for cauliflower rice. And she says, don't get the pre-riced cauliflower. Last time we did that, it didn't turn out well. I said, okay, we'll rice our own cauliflower. Okay. That's all I got. I can't think of anything else. You know, I'm just too out of my mind right now. I do need to catch up. There was a ton of stuff that happened over the holidays. And I just can't think of it right now. Yay! All right. So I'm just going to leave it as that. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Thanks, guys, for listening. Remember to hug your friends, hug your family, and eat something delicious. Oh, yeah. Go run. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.